and in exchange, their village stays safe. He tells the humans that they will be punished for trying to break the contract and breathes out poison to knock them all out. Mia is the only one not affected by it, and she cries for help as the Hydra tries eating her. Suddenly, Ein arrives there to save the day and protects the girl with his barrier. Ursula warns him to be careful because the Hydra is an SS rank monster with powerful poison. Ein tells Yuri to save everyone from the Hydra's poison first, and she manages to cure them in one attempt because her powers have leveled up along with Ein's eye. After that, Ein tells the villagers to run away because he will deal with the Hydra, but no one thinks he can do anything. Ein simply draws his sword and slashes the Hydra into hundreds of pieces, shocking all the villagers. Some of them identify him as the hero who slayed the ancient dragon, and while Ursula appraises the Hydra's abilities, the villagers thank Ein for saving their lives. He asks them to lead him to the lord of this region, and the villagers suddenly become gloomy. They tell Ein that though he saved them from the Hydra, it would have been better if he had let them die. They walk away with that, but Ein is determined to meet the lord and see what is wrong with this place. He soon reaches the grand mansion of the lord, and decides to confront him about misusing his wealth for show when his people are starving. He enters the mansion and loudly asks if anyone is home. The lord of the region, Nigun, comes out to greet him, and he turns out to be a total clumsy idiot. As they have tea, Ein tells Nigun that he is here to do something about the demons attacking this region. Nigun calmly tells him that there are no demons nearby, and the reports made to the guild must have been exaggerated because there are too many monsters in this region. Ein says that he would still like to stay over for a few days and patrol the region at night to be sure. He then informs Nigun that he killed a Hydra on his way here, and hearing that suddenly changes the personality of the lord. He drops his cup in shock on learning that the Hydra is dead, and asks Ein how could he kill it when it was the only thing keeping the monsters of the forest from attacking the village. He begins lashing at Ein, saying that without the Hydra to protect their border, the monsters from the forest will start attacking them again. Ein complains that it was unfair to make a deal with the Hydra because it was asking for sacrifices, and Nigun says that it was no big deal to sacrifice one person for the sake of the entire territory. He tells Ein that he will just kill a few monsters and return home, but the people of his territory are going to suffer because of his actions. He angrily walks out of the room, and Ein is left confused about what to do now. He leaves the mansion, while Nigun goes to talk to his reflection in a magic mirror. He calls his reflection Shadow, and panics as he explains that Ein has killed the Hydra. Shadow tells Nigun that they can easily find another monster to replace the Hydra, but their main problem is Ein. He tells the gullible noble that Ein is a demon, because no human can kill an SS rank monster like a Hydra, and if they want to protect their territory, they must kill him. Nigun believes in him and goes ahead to arrange for Ein's death, and Shadow laughs, saying that humans are easy to manipulate, and after a bit more groundwork, he will come out of the mirror and possess Nigun's body. On the other hand, Ein finds that the village wall is damaged terribly and there are no guards stationed there at all. He tries asking the villagers about Nigun, but as soon as they hear his name, they run away. Ein realizes that everyone is afraid of Nigun, and he tries to find any clue that can help him. He soon finds a disheartened man sitting by himself and staring at his field that was ravaged by monsters as soon as the Hydra died. He tells Ein to return where he came from because people like him can't help them at all. Ein takes that personally, and he immediately uses his magic to prepare the field, and then plants magic seeds to grow vegetables instantly. Next, he uses earth magic to create a thick and tall wall around the area to keep the monsters out. The farmer is shocked to see this, and Ein tells him that it is too soon for him to give up on his life. He asks him to let him help this village, and the man starts laughing because his words remind him of Nigun's father, the previous lord. The man says that the former lord was a kind and brave person, but the moment he died and his son took over, things went to hell. As soon as Nigun came to power, the Hydra appeared, and he made a contract with it without considering anything else. He cut down their defense budget and raised taxes to the absolute limit, and everyone who protested against it was never seen again. That made everyone lose hope. But now, the farmer says that he believes in the future again because of Ein. Ein gets emotional on hearing this, but then suddenly, Alice's abilities awaken, and he sees that a huge horde of monsters is approaching the village. Yuri comes out to ask him if everything is alright, and he tells her that he is going to defeat all the monsters so that not a single one can harm the village. Ein jumps on the wall to see thousands of monsters running towards the village, and he panics, realizing that this is not going to be easy even for him. As he gets down, Yuri appears behind him, asking what are they going to do now, and Ain has no idea. However, as he sees the villagers losing hope, he decides to give everything he has got to protect their lives. He tells Yuri to get in his eye and then jumps high in the air, releasing a giant vacuum bullet in hope to kill some monsters and scare the rest. However, that doesn't work, and the monsters keep rushing towards the village. Some of them suddenly leap towards Ain, and though he dodges their initial attacks, these monkey-like monsters are much more agile than he thought. They grab hands mid-air and yeet each other towards Ain with greater speed, and he activates his super appraise skill to see them in slow-mo and then defeats them with his powerful attacks. Next, he creates a barrier to contain some monsters and kills them all with vacuum bullets, but some monsters sneak behind him. Ain uses another skill to create his clones behind the monsters, and then uses steel threads to chop them up. The villagers who are running away from the monsters stop and stare at Ain in awe because they can't believe he is facing all these monsters on his own, but they don't know that he is pushing his limits. Ursula warns him that if he keeps fighting like this, he will collapse, but Ain is determined to protect all the villagers. He summons his sword and takes his stance to unleash a wide-range attack that will deal with all the monsters at once, but Ursula tells him to stop because at this rate, his body won't hold much longer. Ain refuses to give up even as the monsters gang up on him, and then draws his sword with full power, releasing a slash that kills all the monsters in one go. However, he has reached his limit with that, and he collapses to the ground just as Yuri comes out of his eye. She begins healing him with her holy water, but Ain has damaged himself so badly that even the holy water takes some time to restore him. As soon as he feels better, Ain gets up to thank Yuri, but instead of seeing her, he sees the girl Mia jumping at him, calling him God. The rest of the villagers are there too, and they thank Ain for saving them yet again. However, the farmer Ain helped earlier has something else on his mind. He begins asking his friends how long they are going to live in the shadow of fear. He says that they put their lives in the hands of Nigun, and in the end, they were forced to make human sacrifices to the Hydra. They could never do anything to make their situation better, and even when Ain fought thousands of monsters on his own, they just watched him from the sidelines. The man inspires the villagers to take responsibility for their lives in their own hands, and everyone joins him with great enthusiasm. Ain is moved to see this, and he begins telling Yuri that this is just like the time she saved him. That time, she protected his dignity and gave him the courage to live his life on his own terms, and now that he did the same to the villagers, he feels that he has become a great person like her. The nosy villagers interrupt their moment by saying that they will never let Nigun boss them again, and just then, Nigun arrives there, asking if they were talking about him. The villagers freak out on seeing him, but their leader clearly tells him that they will follow Ain instead of him because he was the one who saved them. Nigun just scoffs at this and confidently tells the villagers that Ain is fooling them. He claims that Ain is a demon, and he set up the monster attack so that he could brainwash everyone and take control of this region. However, the villagers refuse to believe him, and they say that even if Ain is a demon, they will be happy to let him rule them rather than an incompetent loser like Nigun. Nigun gets a panic attack on hearing this, and the village leader tells him that they need a ruler like his father who can fight by their side. His condition worsens. He gets a sharp headache and asks Shadow to help him by taking out a mirror he wears as a pendant. Ain gets bad vibes from the mirror, but he fails to appraise it, making him realize that someone has cast a high-level concealment spell on it. He tries to get the mirror away from Nigun's hand, but it is too late, as the boy gets consumed by darkness. He finds himself talking to Shadow while sitting in a puddle of blood overflowing from a goblet. Nigun asks for advice and Shadow tells him to kill everyone who kills him just like they killed his dad. Nigun gets confused on hearing this, and Shadow decides to remind him about the truth of his father's death. When Nigun was a child, he idolized his dad who was loved and respected by everyone. He wanted to be like him too, but his body was too weak, and the village children refused to play with him, saying that they could catch his illness. Nigun was really hurt by that, and then one day, he heard some people saying that the Lord had found Nigun abandoned in a dumpster, which is why they look so different. The young Nigun was heartbroken to hear this, and he ran away, tripping on top of a puddle. As he began crying, the demon Shadow took advantage of the weakness in his heart and showed himself in the reflection. Nigun was really curious to see his reflection talk to him, and Shadow told him that he was his imaginary friend because he has no real ones. Nigun believed and accepted him because he really wanted a friend, and then Shadow got him to promise that he would keep his existence a secret from everyone. From that day, Nigun spent most of his time with Shadow. One day, he found his father looking quite ill and got worried about him. That was when Shadow showed his true colors and advised Nigun to brew a tea with special medicinal herbs to improve his father's health. Following his advice, Nigun made tea from the anti-fatigue herb and gave it to his dad daily. But his health kept getting worse till he kicked the bucket one day. Nigun was greatly saddened by his father's death and worried that he won't be able to look after the village. But Shadow told him that he would help him do everything perfectly. Despite seeing the complete flashback, Nigun doesn't understand what Shadow means by this because the tea was clearly made from a medicinal herb that was beneficial for his father's health. Shadow calls him an idiot for not figuring it out and tells him that he was the one who killed his father with his own hands. He reveals that the herb was not a medicinal plant but a poisonous weed. Nigun refuses to believe that because the encyclopedia clearly said that it was a plant that helped with fatigue, and Shadow grins smugly, stating that he used magic to edit the book, and the plant was actually a poisonous one that would lead to death if consumed over a long period of time. Nigun feels his entire life crumbling down after learning this truth, but Shadow is not done with his shocking reveals yet. He tells Nigun that he lied about Ain being a demon too, because if there is any demon here, it is him. Nigun is too stunned to even respond to that, and Shadow tells him that initially, he planned to take over his father's body and establish a route between this world and the demon realm to export humans there. However, Nigun's father never let his guard down, so he could not approach him. That is why he approached the vulnerable boy who fell for his lies because he wanted a friend so desperately. Shadow mocks Nigun, telling him that he stupidly killed his dad, whom he loved the most, and that is his breaking point. Nigun screams as he realizes that he got played like a fool, and as he loses control of himself, Shadow creeps inside his body, possessing it. While all this was happening, Ain could only stare at the dark mass surrounding Nigun, and as it disperses, he realizes that the person who came out is not Nigun but someone else. Ain asks him who the hell is he, and the demon introduces himself as Shadow the Enticer, a demon